Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. So today's topic is antinatalism. So I've been hearing some talks about antinatalism, like people saying that we shouldn't have kids anymore because it causes suffering. Now, I get that it's not nice to suffer, but it's kind of like essential really. In order to have good, there has to be bad. And I made a video about this a while ago about why would a God create this, like why a loving God would create this. But like, the thing is, this reality, there's duality, there always has to be some degree of suffering in order for us to appreciate the good. So, for example, you might do a really hard workout and there is an element of suffering in that perhaps, and then after you've done that, there's this kind of this calm relief feeling of, can even be like euphoric. So that's the reality that we live in, that it's just a necessary thing. But the thing is, if good outweighs the bad, then I think that it's worth it. So for example, if it's 80% good to 20% bad, then I think that is worth it. I think it's worth living for that 20% bad if 80% of it's good. Whereas if it was less than 50% good, or even 50% good, then it's probably not really worth it, because to have more suffering and less good, then what's the point? And there's a lot of people kind of doing it to themselves, I think. It's like you got this freaking like hustle culture of that guys like really suffering unnecessarily and just thinking that that's somehow going to make them happy, but it's never actually going to work. True happiness, I think, comes from like being okay with your situation. There's people in like third world countries who are happier than a lot of the people in developed countries. And a lot of that comes down to perspective, and just like when we're kind of exposed to so much good, like things like, say, you see in all these people driving around in Ferraris and Lamborghinis or whatever, then you think, oh, I wish I had one of those. And you're comparing yourself to other people, you see it on the social media. But you got people in like third world countries, a lot of them aren't even connected to the internet. So they don't know any better. They're just kind of, all they're doing is focusing on survival, and they'll just try to make fun from anything that they can, really. They'll even just the simplest of things in life. So we need to be kind of like, if we're going to bring children into this world, then we need to make sure that they are brought up with not to be too spoiled, because if we spoil our children, then they end up expecting too much, perhaps. Like, also be careful like what kind of people that you have them hanging around with. So there is things that you can do to minimize their suffering, but it's inevitable that they're going to have some degree of suffering in their life. But to make sure that it's overall good, I think is actually the selfless thing to do, because you could argue that in some cases not bringing life into the world is also selfish, if you're doing it for selfish reasons, if you can't be bothered to bring life into the world. But there is, selfish people who do bring children into the world, and a lot of that's because it was not intentional, and they were just it was just like an accident that happened. I think even I was an accident, to be honest, but it's like, I'm glad that I'm here though. Like, if I was, not conceived, then I wouldn't be here. If my parents didn't, then I wouldn't be here. So I'm kind of like grateful for being here. But I don't know, it seems to be a certain type of people who are very kind of like, I remember seeing this thing about that they tend to have like dark triad personality traits, like kind of bit like nihilistic, and kind of have a kind of pessimistic view on things. It's like, yeah, there's bad stuff going on, but it's like, but if we keep focusing on that, then we're going to create, more of that in our reality, that what you focus on grows, or what you focus on persists. I think that, so there is some truth to, like, so we're talking about manifestation the other day. I think that's where the truth is, in that if you're focusing on all this negative news, world events and all that, then yeah, that's going to make you miserable. But we should be trying to focus on, like, a tribe of people who, are positive and want to help each other. There's a lot of evil in this world, but we don't have to focus on that. Like, it's like, yeah, we can sort of, like, acknowledge it, but we don't have to focus on it. So the thing is a lot of people just, like, complain about their existence and that, being a wage slave and all that. But the thing is, are you actually trying to do anything to get out of that? And there's actually more opportunities now than ever to escape it. There's so many ways that you can make money. I was talking about this the other day on a video, and there is so many different ways that you can make money now. Like, literally, I'm making a bit of money doing this right now. Making money just filming videos and just sharing my thoughts. I love doing this because it's like, I like to give value to the world, and it gives me a sense of purpose. So, but it seems like certain people just have a certain mindset that life is inherently bad, and because there's suffering, but it's like they can't seem to see any good in it. They just see bad. It's because that's all they're focusing on. They're only focusing on the terrors and the horrors in the world, as opposed to all the good things that are happening. There is good people out there. There is good things happening. It's just that oftentimes that isn't what's getting promoted in the media. I think the problem is that when you consume all this media, and it's like, for example, there was this story in the news a while ago about somebody getting killed in a subway in New York, I think, and they were like, nobody actually tried to do anything about it. I think someone got set on fire or something like that, and not only that, there were people actually filming it. So it's like, but the thing is that if you keep focusing on these, like, kind of isolated incidents, it can really, like, make your blood boil. And yeah, it's like there is these things happening all the time, but you got to remember that, there's billions of people in this world. It's like, yeah, shootings happen, murders happen, all this sort of stuff. There's violence going on, people getting abused, people getting discriminated against, but there's also good people. And it's just, if we're going to have children, we need to just make sure that we're going to bring them up in the right environment, away from toxic people, make sure that they're around the right kind of people. It's just about being mindful of that, and also make sure that you can finance it, because you don't want to end up struggling to bring them into the world. And it's like, some people might just do it, not have them because they can't afford them, which I understand that, but yeah, that's personal choice. It's just, but all I'm saying is that I see life as a gift, and it's something that should be we should appreciate it more. Like, the gift of existence is actually amazing. Whether you believe in God or not, it's like the fact that we're alive right now, experiencing all of this, is such a blessing. But it's hard to kind of remember that when we're seeing all this chaos, all the dark. But it's just we need to just start focusing on that, and we need to make sure that if you've got children, make sure that you just be careful, make sure that you limit their usage of, like, social media, and because that can really be bad for their mental health. So just try to spend more time with them if you can. Maybe look at trying different ways to make money where you can actually spend more time with your family, and then actually, instead of like having to work all the time and then not be able to take care of your family, because oftentimes their father might not even really be spending much time with them, especially like if they're working shifts and stuff like that. So you might want to look at like changing that up, because it's important that they have like a proper family unit, and so they can actually be brought up the best way possible. And if you can make a decent amount of money and you can put them in private education, and that would be maybe even the best thing to do, really. And they get like the best education, they have more chances of doing well in life. And or you could just homeschool them if you've got the time to do it. If you've got like if you've made like some passive income and you can spend more time with them, and you've got more time to do that, you could share the responsibility of raising them, so there's not so much burden, and it can be something that's I think can be worthwhile. But it's just, a lot of people don't plan for these things. They don't plan for like bringing their kids up properly. It's like, I think I heard somewhere like the average average cost of raising a child from 0 to 18 is something like $250,000. So that's a lot of money over 18 years. So that's about almost like about 15,000 a year, something like that, which is a lot of money. Because when you consider like you're going to need a bigger house and you're going to need all these other things, so you obviously need to make sure that you have your finances first, and because you don't want to end up in a situation where you can't do a lot for your children. You're having to kind of make sacrifices, and even sometimes they'll just buy cheap food for them and they end up being unhealthy. They get obese because they're eating junk. If they're eating McDonald's all the time because their parents won't actually give them healthy food. I don't think that's right. So I understand where people are coming from. There is a lot of selfish people out there who just kind of do things recklessly without really thinking about it. But if you can do it like responsibly, then I don't see why not, if you really want to do that. And if you don't want to bring kids up in this world, then that's also fine. But I don't think we should be telling everybody not to have them. I think it's a choice. Like, I think it's something that, as long as it's a responsible decision, I don't think there's anything wrong. But let me know what you guys think. And it's like, I get that there is suffering in this world. Like I said before, that it's inevitable. We have pain at times, we have sickness, but we can minimize that to a degree if we take care of ourselves. If we're responsible with our health, then we're probably going to have less sick days. We're going to be the healthiest we can be, and if we can then pass that on to your children and make them be the healthiest that they can be, bring them up in a healthy environment, encourage them to be fit and healthy, and just make sure that you prioritize their mental health and try to keep them off these screens too much, because it can really mess up their heads. They're going to be comparing themselves to everybody. They're going to be growing up with a lot of them grow up with low self-esteem and low confidence. But we need to make sure that we bring them up in a way that ensures that they do have confidence and self-esteem. So I think that it's just about responsibility. It's just, there is, I agree, there's a lot of irresponsible people, and I would say for a lot of people it is selfish, and they're bringing kids into this world without planning it, where they're just kind of they're not thinking about what they're doing. People just like throw caution to the wind. It's like, it's just like, I would almost kind of put it in the category of people who will just go out and get drunk and then and then drive. It's like, because the thing is that because they're a harm to others as well as themselves. So, and if you're bringing up kids to be like obese and unhealthy, and then I almost think that's as bad, because you just don't really care enough. Like you're prioritizing your own desires over your family, and your family's needs should come first. If you're going to bring life into this world, then you have a responsibility. So yeah, so kind of like, as you know, it is a lot of the time my take's kind of nuanced. I can kind of see both sides of things. I try to kind of be understanding of different perspectives, and I'm open to hearing things. So someone was like, I think it was someone in my live chat the other day, and they were like, what are your thoughts on bringing life into the world? They were asking me if I was planning on having children, and the thing is, I actually do want to have them one day. I don't think I'm ready like right now at this moment, but at some point I feel like I could be ready and be able to take on that responsibility. But yeah, it's just I wouldn't want to just get into something like without having the preparation, and like mentally, and also like having enough money, resources and things to be able to do the best job. So yeah, so I actually think it can be a selfless thing to do, to bring life into this world, because bringing life into this world is a huge commitment. It's some things might have to go on hold while you're doing it, unless you've got so much money that you can just unless you're like so rich that you can just have people see to your kids when you need to. But a lot of people end up like they put their life on hold because they've got kids for a few years at least. They've got duties and stuff, but like, yeah, so I mean, the thing is that I come to realize that humans kind of are somewhat selfish in general. We're all looking out for our own desires, but I think that we also need to be looking out for other people as well. We've got to try and find that balance of what's in my best interest, but also in the best interest of others, and finding that happy medium where everybody's happy, as opposed to just me without any regard for anybody else's feelings. Because it's gotten into this day and age where nobody seems to really care about other people so much, because they're so isolated in their own bubbles. Oftentimes people are just online and they think they can just say what they want and get away with it, because there's like zero accountability. Like nobody feels like they have to be held accountable now, and then when they do finally get held accountable, then it's like a massive shock to them. So yeah, just you just gotta hold yourself accountable for, like, you gotta be, because otherwise somebody will hold you accountable, and you don't want that to happen, do you? It's better that you hold yourself accountable than have somebody else hold you accountable. Yeah, so because there are some really messed up people in this world, some people, and I'm not advocating that, but you just gotta be careful, gotta be careful, you don't say the wrong thing to the wrong person, do the wrong thing to the wrong person. We should just be good people, really. Do what's right for everybody. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. And we should be trying to bring our kids up to be good people as well. Because I see a lot of like rude people growing up now. Like they're just, partly it could be because of like 2020 and how like their education was put on hold for a while, and it might have messed up them growing up. And I think also it's just, you know, the iPad generation, and there's less, in general, less socializing in the real world, and oftentimes their parents are just kind of not really take as much of a part in bringing up the kids. Think, oh, I'll just give them the iPad, just, you know, they'll shut up then, and I can just kind of not be distracted now, and I can just. But the thing is you can't just be like that, because it's going to mess them up. You're already seeing all this brain rot messing up a lot of these kids, these Gen Alphas. It's just coming out with a lot of nonsense. It's like, it's quite concerning, really, because is this stuff just going to keep getting worse? Because as technology keeps advancing, and it's quite concerning, really, that we just need to be safeguarding our children and make sure that they're actually being brought up in a way that doesn't turn them into, you know, like kind of like, because there's been this thing of like, you know, IQ dropping by, I can't remember if it was 10 points or 20 points, something crazy like that. Which is quite alarming, really. That's like quite a significant drop. Like, you would notice a difference in, like, say, 10 IQ points, let alone 20 points of IQ difference in somebody. Like, it's like night and day difference. Like, you know, if say someone's like 100 to like compare that to someone who's 110, like, you'll notice that difference in the way that they think, the way they process things. So yeah, it's just we just need to make sure they're brought up to be intelligent, so that they can think critically, so that they can be safe. We shouldn't be letting young children on things like Snapchat, for example, because that can be really dodgy. Even things like TikTok and you know, a lot of these apps with like messaging features on them, where you got these predators just like who are seeking these young children. I mean, I know it's so messed up, this world, and it's like, but if we're responsible, we can prevent most of the suffering and bad. It's just, yeah, we need to stop thinking that we are powerless, and that we're kind of that bad is inevitably all that's going to happen. And because I do believe to a degree in self-fulfilling prophecy. If you believe that your life is going to turn out crap, then your subconscious mind will confirm that. It'll find ways to confirm that. What you believe to be true will become true at some point. I mean, you know, if you see everything good, then your subconscious mind will focus on that instead. Now, of course, there is times we've got to acknowledge things, and we can't just be delusional, but that we should just, like I said, focus on all the positive stuff in the world that gives us, you know, faith in humanity, that isn't just gonna just devastate us and make us feel like crap. Because, you know, like I said, with like the thing in New York, it's like, yeah, there is some crappy people in this world. People who care more about clout than they do about somebody's life. It sucks, but oftentimes that's a product of failed upbringing, and yeah, so yeah, just be careful, you know. But I'm not telling people what they should and shouldn't be doing. It's for you to make your own mind up. But yeah, I'm going to be live about 7 p.m. UK time, so I hope to see you all there. So until next time, peace out, bye.